I've been reading more on the internet recently, and sometimes I come across some things that are a little bit confusing to me, and I've been thinking to maybe read less. Can you help me understand, what to do about that?
Hmm. Quite a pertinent question. Actually, the internet is, it's part of everybody's life nowadays, so it's very difficult to avoid that unless you live in a cave somewhere that doesn't have Wi-Fi. But but yeah, sometimes I think that a lot of things on the internet are more harmful than they are helpful. Ultimately, we have to understand what is association. Srila Sridhar Maharaj often told us that 99.9% of our spiritual advancement is dependent on our association. And, in layman's terms, that means birds of a feather flock together. So we have to choose our association. And whether that is association on the internet or association in person, it's the same principle is involved in that. You choose what you associate with. You choose what you read, choose where you look, choose who it is you accept as the authority about Krishna consciousness. You can find so much advice, especially on the internet now. If you look, you can find anything about everything and about anything, and even things that you probably never even imagine in your wildest dreams. You can find that on the internet if you want to. But really, Krishna consciousness isn't about that. Krishna consciousness is about serving your master. If you want to understand Krishna, then you have to understand the relationship between guru and disciple. And that means the guru is always the master and the disciple is always the student. So we have to take the guru's instruction very seriously. And different people have different ideas about that. But ultimately, you have to use your own best judgment and listen to your own inner voice. That same voice that brought you to Krishna consciousness in the first place. You have to rely on that voice. As Srila Sridhar Maharaj often said, if I'm not in the market to be cheated, then nobody can cheat me. So the fact is, unfortunately, some people want to be cheated. Some people want an excuse to leave the Krishna consciousness movement. They want some justification for doing that. But if we are sincere, if we examine our motives all the time, then we have to put that aside, and we have to understand that what's essential is our service connection with our Gurudev. Service. Somehow or another we have to get some service. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj would say so many times that the answer to all problems is responsible service. You have to have some service to your Gurudev where you feel, if I don't do this anymore, then I'm letting my Gurudev down. I'm not fulfilling my responsibility to my Gurudev. I have to be a dutiful man, a dutiful disciple to my Gurudev. And find an association of those who are of that same opinion. Find association of those who are trying to cultivate that. And ultimately, when we're new practitioners in Krishna consciousness, or whether we're seasoned veterans in Krishna consciousness, we need association. We need Harinam Sankirtan. We need Sadhu Sangha. We need to hear and chant about Krishna in the association of devotees. We need that. That's our food. That's our food. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if you become ill, then immediately you're going to go to the doctor and get some medicine and some diet or whatever you need to get well. But because we can't see our inner self, our real self, our soul, we neglect that. We don't realize how ill that may have become, how diseased our own soul may have become. But take it from me, we have need for some real medicine, some real food, and that we will only find that in the association of the devotees. And if you've got no other association, then you may find some virtual association via the internet. But that's never any replacement for real face-to-face, hands-on devotional association, in the living association of the living devotees, where we're all pulling together and chanting the holy names of Krishna together. The Sankirtan of the Lord has to be done in congregation. It's not something you can do remotely from behind your computer screen in dimly lit bedrooms. You have to come together, and this is what Gurudev has told us. Come together in the association of the devotees. And I tell you, I believe if more devotees would do that, would come together and have Harinam Sankirtan and share Mahaprasadam and worship the deity and discuss the scripture, then all of these problems would disappear very quickly. That's the medicine for everything. That's the cure for everything. We shouldn't be confused about that. That's really what will help us in Krishna consciousness. And there used to be some controversy because Srila Sridhar Maharaj had prescribed the devotees 4 rounds a day rather than 16 rounds a day, and there was some controversy. One of my godbrothers, he wrote to Guru Maharaj saying, "You have told all the devotees in the London temple they're only chanting 4 rounds a day, and Swami Maharaj told us 16 rounds a day. Then how are we to harmonize this?" Some kind of challenge to Guru Maharaj actually. And Guru Maharaj's reply to him was, and you can understand this in different ways, but his reply was, "I'm very happy to see that my devotees in the London Mott don't have time to chant more than 4 rounds every day. They're so engaged in service." And maybe that was a little bit of a chastisement to those devotees. Do you really not have time to chant 16 rounds a day? Only 4? You're so much engaged in service? If you are, then great, but if not. But then he said, but you're a grihasta and you don't have any service. Then my Guru Maharaj, his prescription for those who didn't have any service was that they should chant 64 rounds every day. So you can chant 64 rounds every day. So the point is, it's not about counting. The point is, it's about service. And if we fill our time with service, then so much service that we don't even have time to chant those 4 rounds every day, then we will be making advancement in Krishna consciousness. All these other things won't be important to us anymore. That if we know we are serving our Gurudev and our Gurudev is pleased with us, it doesn't matter. All these other things aren't very important. They're only very important to those who don't have any direction, actually. So that's my advice. Everybody should come together and chant Harinam and share Mahaprasad and discuss the scripture, and this way our mission will thrive and our mission will grow.